Story 1. I'm employed as a security guard for a company that responds to alarms. My primary responsibility involves addressing alarms triggered at both commercial establishments and private homes. In the majority of cases, the alarms I respond to are set off by minor events, such as a motion detector activated by a cat or a restaurant, forgetting to disarm their alarm before unloading stock. However, there was a particular night when I received an alert for a house where a backdoor alarm had been triggered. The homeowner was out of town, but she received a notification through her app and had her mother meet me at the location. Upon arrival, I encountered an elderly woman who claimed to be the homeowner's mother. Although it wasn't uncommon for someone other than the homeowner to meet me, I didn't find it unusual at the time. We inspected the reported door, which was closed and locked. We theorized that someone may have attempted to open the door, causing the alarm to activate, even though the door remained unopened. Satisfied with this explanation, we were about to leave when I noticed a bedroom light was on inside the house. Strangely, I could have sworn it was off when we first arrived. The mother, speaking to her daughter on the phone, explained the situation with the bedroom light. The daughter wasn't certain if she left the light on or not. This puzzled me, as I was almost certain the light was off initially. Despite lacking a spare key, the mother wanted to check inside. The daughter mentioned the next-door neighbor might have a key but advised against disturbing them as it was late. Unable to take further action, I completed my paperwork and resumed my regular patrol. However, about an hour later, I received another alert for the same residence. Upon arrival, I discovered multiple police officers already present, reviewing video footage provided by the daughter. The footage revealed 6 armed men in masks and hoodies emerging from the bathroom shortly after the mother and I had left. These intruders proceeded to ransack the house, taking anything of value, including turning on the bedroom light. The mother informed me that her daughter had reported seeing masked men on multiple occasions in her front and backyard. Somehow, these criminals knew when the daughter would be out of town. It became evident that these individuals were not only cunning, but well prepared, bringing firearms for a potential confrontation. Knowing this, I realized that if we had a key or had disturbed the neighbor for one, we might have walked into a dangerous situation and potentially been shot. Reflecting on this incident, I now hesitate to enter a property if I suspect someone is there, regardless of my job responsibilities. Losing my job seems inconsequential when compared to the newfound awareness of the inherent dangers in my line of work. I consider myself fortunate that we avoided entering the house that night, preventing a potentially fatal encounter with armed intruders. This unsettling incident occurred back in 2015 when I was just a 16-year-old navigating the challenges of adolescence. It unfolded during a summer weekend when both my parents embarked on a journey to visit some relatives out of town. As the sole occupant of our residence for that weekend, I had the freedom to revel in the solitude. Despite the emptiness of the house, my routine was punctuated by my grandma's daily visits, during which she lovingly prepared lunch for me. However, as night fell, I found myself alone once again, a circumstance I didn't particularly mind at the time. Being 16 and immersed in the middle of summer, my evenings were typically spent indulging in movies, PlayStation gaming sessions, and YouTube marathons. The eerie events began to unfold on the second night of my solo weekend adventure. Around 10 p.m., I decided to take a brief hiatus from my digital escapades to attend to a mundane yet necessary task, switching a load of laundry downstairs. Little did I know that this mundane chore would set the stage for a night I would never forget. As I descended into the dimly lit lower floor, the tranquility of the night was suddenly shattered by the jarring sound of the doorbell. The unexpected intrusion caught me off guard, and my ears were filled with an unusually loud noise for that hour. Realizing that I was the only one at home, a sense of responsibility compelled me to investigate the disturbance. Our front door, lacking the convenience of a peephole, forced me to slightly open it to get a glimpse of the unanticipated visitor. What met my eyes was a disheveled man, clad in a regular white shirt and dirty jeans, cradling nothing but a wrench in his hands. Before I could utter a word, the stranger spun a tale about a purported power outage in the area, asserting his need to enter my home to rectify the issue. He claimed to represent a local electrical company, conveniently omitting any specific details about the company itself. Even at 16, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, especially since there was no actual power outage at my house. Opting for a polite refusal, I closed the door, only to realize that the man's departure was eerily silent. An uncomfortable 3 minutes later, I finally heard him leave. Deciding to put the bizarre encounter out of my mind, I ascended the stairs and resumed my nocturnal activities. However, fate had a more sinister turn in store for me that night. Approximately an hour later, my stomach growled, signaling the need for sustenance. Once again, I descended the staircase to the lower level, but as I did, a deafening crash reverberated through the house, followed by the distinct sound of a door opening. The chilling realization dawned on me. Someone had shattered the glass on the back door to gain unauthorized entry. Panic set in, and my immediate instinct was to arm myself. Grabbing a knife from the kitchen, I stealthily approached the source of the disturbance. To my horror, the intruder was none other than the same man from earlier, still clutching the wrench in his hands. At that moment, he hadn't noticed my presence, engrossed in rummaging through the shelves near the door. Panic surged within me as I recalled leaving my phone upstairs. In a quick decision fueled by fear and adrenaline, I formulated a plan to make a dash for it, lock myself in my room, and urgently summon the police. However, as I reached the stairs, fate took a cruel turn. The man turned, locking eyes with me. Without a second thought, I hurled the knife I was holding in his direction. The blade missed its mark, but the sudden movement was enough to startle the intruder, prompting him to flee in haste. Seizing the opportunity, I sprinted upstairs, frantically dialed the emergency number, and the police responded promptly. Despite their swift arrival, the mysterious man had already vanished into the night, leaving behind only a vague description. To this day, the horrifying reality that someone in my seemingly tranquil neighborhood would go to such lengths to impersonate an electrical technician, all with the sinister intent of gaining access to my home, sends shivers down my spine. I am grateful that my instincts kicked in, enabling me to recognize the danger and respond effectively. Regrettably, the man responsible for this chilling episode has never been apprehended. The memory of that night serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable dangers that can lurk even in the seemingly ordinary corners of our lives. I'm a 21-year-old college student, currently sharing an apartment with just one roommate. Our humble abode is nestled in an old apartment building, conveniently located about a 10-minute walk from my school. Now, what sets this aging establishment apart are its archaic buzzers, remnants of a bygone era, stationed on the ground floor. To grant someone access to your apartment, they need to ring your buzzer from the main entrance downstairs. You then wield the power to unlock the door for them via a switch in your apartment, but only after they confirm their identity over the speakerphone. Typically, I feel pretty secure in my second-floor apartment. Our most common issues involve inebriated students stumbling past our rooms late at night. However, one particular experience has left an indelible mark on my sense of security, forever altering my perception of this supposedly safe space. It all transpired on a nondescript Friday night during spring break. My friend was staying over after a night of drinks and TV. We both retired to our respective rooms, with her occupying the guest room and me nestled in my own. I fell into a slumber around 1 a.m., only to be abruptly awoken at 4:15 a.m. by the incessant ringing of my room's buzzer. It wasn't a mere one-time occurrence. It persisted over and over again. I waited for it to cease, but it continued for at least 15 minutes. Now, these buzzers are ear-piercingly loud, especially in the confines of a small apartment, amplifying the general fear and adrenaline coursing through me. Unable to endure it any longer, I reluctantly left my bed, heading to my door to pick up the buzzer phone and figure out who was causing this disturbance. The fleeting thought crossed my mind that it might be my roommate returning after a night out. "Hello, who's there?" I inquired, as my now awake friend joined me to assess the situation. All that reverberated on the other line was quick, heavy breathing and the repeated banging on the entrance door of the apartment building. An immediate sense of dread washed over me as I slammed the phone down without unlocking the entrance door. Yet the buzzer persisted, being pressed relentlessly until, to our horror, we could hear the entrance door being unlocked and opened from downstairs. To this day, I remain clueless as to who in my apartment building thought it was a good idea to let this person in. The next thing we heard was a loud, deeply aggressive voice screaming and running through the hallways. The man was yelling things like, "I'm gonna kill you all, you're all dead, and no one in this building is safe." I distinctly remember being frozen in fear, locking eyes with my best friend as we stood there helplessly listening. Periodically, I glanced out my door's peephole and caught glimpses of this disturbed-looking man. Throughout a significant portion of the night, he continued with his threats, stomping around and banging on walls and doors. I genuinely feared this man intended to harm someone, especially as he seemed fixated on ringing my buzzer and banging on my room's door more than others. My friend and I, like many other residents in the building, called the police. However, for some inexplicable reason, they didn't arrive for about an hour, subjecting us all to endure this man's disturbing threats for what felt like an eternity. Fortunately, they managed to apprehend the guy, who turned out to be an escapee from a local mental asylum, armed with a knife. The entire experience was insanely disturbing, and I firmly believe the man would have acted on his threats had someone exited their room. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find the funds to move to a new place, so I can only hope nothing like this happens again while I'm still here.